Welcome to the School of Professional Design. I'm Donnie Tuttle, your guide to aligning your work with your unique professional design. I'm a professor at the School of Professional Design, and I am here to help you to unlock the professional life that you love and loves you back. So let's get out of the grind and play by your design.
Can I take you there?
If being different is one of your key motivators, you might be the rebel, the outlaw. The rebel is like a stallion, uncontrollable, uncontainable energy that can break through any cage. They are profit activated. What's in it for me? They are prove it activated. I'll show you. They are chip on the shoulder activated. You can't push me into a corner. They are authenticity at all costs. They are different. They are rebels. And that's what we're going to be talking about on this edition of School of Professional Design audio experience. We want you to play by your strengths and to stop trying to be like everyone else. When you do that, my friend, you win. And if you are the rebel archetype, you are bold, unconventional, you're rule breaking. Definitely, you're going to be a challenge to authority and a thorn sometimes in the side of those who are trying to be leaders. You are a disruptor of status quo. You bring change and innovation. You're willing to burn it all to the ground. Now, the rebel is one of the three pioneers, and the three pioneers, it's the rebel, the jester, and the explorer. And these are the ones that in any profession are willing to go outside of the norms. They can't be contained by the norms, but they're all slightly different. The jester, for them, it's about humor. It's about fun, but the rebel is direct and they're confrontational. They don't mind. Sometimes a rebel can sound like a jester because of their sarcasm. Sometimes humor is a tool for change for the rebel, but really for them, it's about pushing against status quo. Unlike the explorer who seeks new experiences, the rebel focuses on breaking down barriers and pushing boundaries. It's not about the new experience. It's about getting out of the old. Oh boy, you want something that's going to annoy a rebel. You just look for status quo. Look for the day-to-day. Look for the norm. Look for the matrix. The rebels see themselves as seeing through things that the rest of us don't. They are questioners of whatever is normal. And they say, why be normal? Their tendencies are to be bold, unconventional, to challenge authority, to bend the rules, or at least challenge them. They want to disrupt. They are innovators. Sometimes, if they're immature, they can seem selfish or childish because it really does seem like it revolves around them. But really, truly, a rebel isn't only about their own personal freedom. They really are for the freedom of all of us. Think William Wallace, right? Mel Gibson played him in the movie Braveheart. That's a rebel. Those are the people who say, this isn't right, this other thing is right, rather than just going along with the flow. Rebels are like a revolutionary leader who fights against oppressive systems. They break down barriers, inspiring others to a vision of a newer and better world. Through bold action, the rebel paves the way for significant change. Bold action. You want bold action? Get a rebel. The ends justify the means for the rebel. Blow it up. Who cares who gets hurt? Some historical and fictional examples, like Che Guevara, revolutionary leader for the Cuban Revolution. Fictionally, you can go with Katniss Everdeen from the Hunger Games, who rebelled against the oppressive systems. And business, if you want to find a rebel in the world of business, look at Elon Musk. When they said electric cars will never compete with gasoline vehicles, he said electric cars can be faster, safer, and more efficient. When they said a private company can't succeed in space exploration, he said, watch me. We can revolutionize space travel and make it affordable. When they said reusable rockets are fantasy, he said, we can build rockets that can land back on Earth and fly again. When they said Tesla will never survive in the competitive automotive market, he said Tesla will lead the world in electric vehicles. Think about the things that he had to push against in order to create the reality that he now lives in. Rebels are like bulldogs. They can lock their jaw in on whatever it is that they're trying to achieve and not entertain thoughts of failure, thoughts of fear. Nelson Mandela, Rosa Parks. It's not always with violence that a rebel stands. It can just be with defiance. Joan of Arc, who defied the norms of the time because she felt called by God. Harriet Tubman. Spartacus, the gladiator who led a major slave uprising against the Roman Republic. His rebellion threatened Rome's power before he was eventually defeated. Gandhi, leader of Indian independence from British rule. Malcolm X. So many examples. Our world would not be what it is without revolutionary. Steve Jobs, he could be considered a bit of a rebel. Motivations for the rebel are being original. I worked with one guy who was definitely this, and he said, I'm motivated if I can get to the end of something and say, and I won't use his exact words, but he said, screw you. So rebels are motivated by a screw you. They're motivated by why? Who says? They're motivated by a desire to break down barriers, to challenge authority, motivated by change. And there is an inspiration to others, but they don't necessarily want to hold on to that. They're not looking for great acclaim. Think Han Solo, right? They're in it for how can we profit? What can we move? What can we change? And then how can I get mine? Their fears, well, conformity, big fear. Stagnation, taking too long, staying stuck. I grew up as a carny and on the carnival as a child. And one of the fears of all carnies, which probably are all rebels, was to become like what they called the suckers. And if they had to leave the carnival to get like a regular job, they would talk down upon it. And they would say, I got to go leave and get a sucker job. Yeah. So the fear of being like everyone else, the fear of being silenced, the fear of being controlled, the fear of having to work for the man. Like a lot of people who are entrepreneurs embody this, if not fully and completely, at least for a time, they may act like the rebel. And there's a fear of returning back to normal. The fear of, I don't want to say fear of failure, but the fear of actually changing things. What if this doesn't change anything? It's a fear. If that's you, let's sometimes look at that. I remember walking on a path up a mountain one time with my children, and I saw a marker, and it said, go this way. And I thought I saw a shortcut up a mountain that I'd never been on. My children yelled, Dad, stay on the marked path. And I said, I know what I'm doing. Dad, it's dangerous. Don't go. And I said, don't tell me what to do. That is the voice of a rebel. Don't tell me what to do. Now, if you are this person, you might want to think about taking advice of others, at least for a moment. Take a moment, skip a beat. You don't have to charge into the fire every time to prove some point. It's interesting. Sometimes you rebels, you may like something good, but if you see other people starting to like it, you suddenly won't like it. If everyone else starts to go that way, you'll choose something else, even to your own detriment, even if it was the best, smartest thing, even if you're the one that thought it up. You'll change course because you don't want to be like everyone else. And sometimes you need to let yourself be a part of the crowd with certain things. I know you're uncontainable. Your strength is boldness, it's courage, it's conviction, it is forward thinking, it's the willingness to inspire through disruption. Those are great. We need you. Professionally, we need you. But your willingness to break laws, we probably don't need that. Not all laws are good laws. I know that you are the type to overturn them. Your blind spots, you might be seen as always confrontational. You might become unlikable, not that you care, but sometimes it would be good to have the strength of others. You may struggle with collaboration. You may struggle with diplomacy. You say it like it is in your mind. And maybe again, take a breath before you say what you're thinking. You may be risking alienating others with your bold approach. Push, push, push. That's what you do. And sometimes you push other people away, including friends, family, allies, people you want on your side. For you, the most native business functions probably involve some solitary parts of your day. It also involves you looking at things and seeing what you can turn over, what you can break, what doesn't belong, what doesn't make sense. Innovation, product development, yeah, sure. Strategic leadership, could be, right? You can cast a vision of an alternative direction. You're really good, actually, at helping us find the villain that we're fighting. And villains aren't people always. Usually they're not. Usually they're ideas. Like we could be fighting against the villain of inefficiency or lack of intelligence or being like everyone else. You may sometimes think that you have have wisdom, or you may seem like a sage or a shaman. Sometimes you'll wear that mask. That's a persona. That's not who you really are, because ultimately your care for others it's equal to your care for yourself. You want something for yourself and therefore you want it for others, but really you're a little bit more on the selfish side. That's okay. Managing your, like, how I would adjust, how I would change things in terms of time, you definitely do not want to box in all of your time. So anything that you ever have, you need to leave some open space for you to decide. It is good to have sometimes a menu of productivity. So let's just say you were starting your day and you had 10 important things to do. Maybe choose a menu of 2 or 3 of those that you want to get done today. And when it's time for you to be in on mode, when it's time for you to do your butt kicking, choose from any of those options on the menu. If you don't feel choice, you're going to disengage and actually trigger that rebelliousness inside of you, and you're going to push up even against what you want. This thing can even burn against you, not just against all of the things that are out there. Prioritize tasks that align with disruption. What can you disrupt? So I like the idea of odd and crazy and weird, whether it's social media, pattern interrupts, whether it's some type of prospecting or recruiting, use pattern interrupt. You are the interrupter. Enjoy it. Relish in it. And don't try to be the person that blends in. You're not going to like it. Okay? So that's with time and tasks. In terms of relationships, you typically don't like to be a follower, but if you can find a way to become a follower, it will strengthen your position. So find a rebel, whether it's in the business world and you're reading books from people like Richard Branson or Elon Musk, or find a rebel that you can identify with and learn lessons from them. you don't have to go alone. Okay. It's dangerous if you go alone. So finding a mentor, whether they're face to face or it's through podcasts or books, that's going to be one thing. I would say finding your band of brothers or sisters is going to be important too. Just people that are pushing back against the status quo, against the norm. Create a movement. You may be tempted to avoid certain things, saying, I don't want fame. I'm not going to go on social media, or I'm not going to build this massive business. I don't want fame. Don't build fame. Build a rebellion. Build just as a small band of discontents that can turn over status quo. There are leadership qualities in you, and you might not want to admit it. You might not even be attracted to being responsible for others. Don't be responsible for others. Just ignite people with that vision and see what you can do. Sometimes that's what we need. We all need a dose of not being the same. Our routines is what gets most of us into our trouble. And you, my friend, can get us out. In terms of productivity, I would say have big goals, ambitious goals. If you start to look and feel normal, you lose your power. So those, what they call them, the BHAGs, big, hairy, audacious goals, have them. Find a way to stay on task. So whatever's most important, put it in your space, write it on your goals, write it in your space. Have something that always reminds you of what you stand for, and sometimes what you stand against. For you, I would say to feel a sense of purpose in what you're doing, which is going to ignite love for what you do. Focus on the impact of your disruptive actions. Don't do something to do it. Don't kick something to kick it. Kick it because it's going to make something neat happen. It's going to turn things the opposite way. It's going to make people consider it something that they hadn't thought of before. And so focus on the impact of your disruptive actions. Celebrate moments of bold innovation, not just from you, but from others. So find examples of people who are doing it and see yourself in that. Reinforce find a way to reinforce the value of your rebellious and visionary approach. Find a way to not blend in, don't say, I know, I need to be more professional. Yes, you do need to be more professional. But oftentimes rebels they'll choose to completely turn it off, completely mute that. And I would say, yeah, be professional. Maybe you need to relate to others better. Maybe you need to sand some of the rough edges off of what you're doing. But don't hide this thing that pushes against status quo. We need that. Try to avoid misunderstanding. Right? People might think that you're mean. Some people might think that you're careless. You're going to come across as that when people misunderstand you. And so master communication, master the different ways that talk fast, talk slow, talk gentle, talk loud. Find ways to use all of the quadrants, because you're going to find much more effectiveness if you can take that idea that's burning inside of you and get others engaged with it as well. Find a way to invite others into your work. Keep your solidarity, or your solitude, but also find a way to let others do some of your work. Be a fire sharer, a fire starter. I do think that if you're in a professional scenario, find a way to lead the groups, find a way to challenge thoughts. I do think that groups are a good place. We need your energy. And some of the things that need to be done by someone who has determination and willpower, again, I really like the rebel, the outlaw. I like that person as a prospector, as a salesperson. I like that person as sometimes on the leadership team. Maybe not all alone, but on a leadership team. Find a way to mature. A lot of times, rebels can mature into great rulers. And really, a rebel it's the same personality of a ruler, except for there's a little bit more sarcasm, crassness involved there. Stuff I would outsource to others, definitely repetitive tasks, okay? That's one of the things you kick against, repetitive tasks. Definitely things that feel like lip service, some of the niceties, hugging people, making them feel good, welcome to our company, training, those, you probably don't want to be the person to do that. Anything that has standard operating procedure written on it, companies need that, and that's not you. Find a way to get someone else to be that process and to be that system. I would outsource anything that requires someone to always have a cool mind. So courage, check, you got it. Willingness to sometimes bite your lip, maybe not, right? Give that to someone else. Some ways that you might be showing up, you may be showing up as a jester. Like people might think you're funny usually because of sarcasm. People may think that you are an explorer because really what you're looking for is just something different. This can't be it. I want something different, but that's not really you. A lot of times, because you are pushing against the norms, you've also collected this body of thought in ways that things could be. Think founding fathers of the United States of America. You collect lots of facts and wisdom, so you can look like a sage. But that's not you either. You are amazing at what you do. You push against the norm. You use your amazing energy and conviction to create new paths, to show up in a way that you're willing to prove it. Just like your energy and your can-do is activated by a little bit of a watch me do it. No one tells me what to do or who I am. And when you do it, when you slay your giants, when you overcome your obstacles, you open the doors for the rest of us to do the same. So I know people may think that you are lots of things. There's lots of misunderstandings for the rebel. But when you do what you do and you are ignited by a good cause, if you can involve the needs of others in that, you break through the walls that are holding people around you. So bring that into the world professionally. It is attractive. It's the amazing energy that we all want to see and feed off of, and stop trying to be like everyone else. Go stand out. My hope is to encourage you to look, to think. You be you, my friend. Take that gift, shine it up, bring it to the world, because we need your magic. Before you go, I have a question for you. Are you tired of feeling like you're just not effective, like you know there's something more in you? Listen, you're not weird. You're just alone. And we all need someone to simplify things. That's exactly what I do for free in the Powerful Peak Performance Masterclass. And I'm inviting you right now to go to schoolofprofessionaldesign.com/now, and I'll show you how to generate peak performance from your unique identity, how to create unstoppable vision, and take bold action. Start bringing 100% of yourself into your life and make your life your master work. I'll see you there. It's free. schoolofprofessionaldesign.com/now.